Alright, what's up guys? So, another video. It's been a long time since a video has been out. We're actually taking a break on the Impreza and we're going to be working on Matt's Tundra. So you guys have only really seen Matt's Tundra quickly in one of my old Tundra videos when I did wheels and Matt and I Raptor lined the grill on it. So it was just a quick little show and tell of Matt's with him doing the Raptor liner on his truck. But today we're actually doing a lot of work on his truck. We're doing a full suspension lift kit and wheels and tires. We don't have the wheels, well, we have the wheels, just not the tires yet, but we're gonna do all of the lift and then obviously just wait for the tires to show up. So I haven't said anything about it on the channel, but I am waiting for a 22 TRD Pro Tundra to show up. I actually just got a call today that it's coming end of September, probably beginning of October. But it's gonna be cool because we're gonna compare his truck once it's lifted with bigger tires against my TRD Pro, which isn't necessarily, thanks motorcycle, which isn't necessarily a fair fight because the TRD Pro, now the 22, is gonna be a totally different platform with, I'd say it's about the same suspension. The Fox shocks versus these Bilsteins that we're gonna show you. I'd say they're both comparable to each other, except now the new truck is gonna have the locking rear diff, the multi-train select, so and the hybrid powertrain. So it's gonna be, you know, Matt will have a couple handicaps for that stuff, but I mean, suspension-wise, wheel tire package-wise, they're going to be fairly similar to each other, which is really what we're going to be testing out. So I don't know if you guys have watched our, what was it, the subframe removal video of the IS when we had the whole parts table. This is the same parts table, but now instead of IS 300 parts, we have Tundra parts now. And the funny thing is, it was all suspension stuff last time, which now, again, it's all suspension stuff. So Matt got, which ones were these? The Bilsteins?
These are the 6112 fronts, and the rears are the 5160s.
Yeah, so he's got the nice
rear reservoir.
Yeah, nice external reservoir. Matt upgraded to these nice billet external reservoir mounts instead of the little, like, kind of like urethane, polyurethane mounts that it comes with.
No, it's like a clamp.
Yeah, I mean, like the mount itself is like urethane.
That's like they're cheap.
Yeah, got new springs for these. We just have to swap over the top hats from the factory ones. Matt's doing new rear shackle, which will give it an inch, what was it, inch lift?
Yeah, these are adjustable. So these are the Toy Tech ones, so one is an inch, one is an inch and a half. So
oh, okay.
Depending on,
I don't know if maybe one was factory, one was inch.
No,
because I remember the Xterra that I had, the rear shackle lift that I got was a OEM and then a 1 inch.
Okay, no, this one is 1 inch like minimum, and then 1.5 inch. So I think we'll try the 1 inch first.
Yeah.
If it's nice and leveled, we'll keep it.
Yeah. And then we're gonna do what, 3 inches on this?
Yeah, it's like 2.5 inch on the top. I actually almost should have measured first, but that's okay. But yeah, this will give it a 2.5 up front and 1 inch in the back. It's basically similar to a 3-to-1 level. Yeah.
And then Matt just has a couple other goodies. He's got the diff drop for the front, new upper control arms for the front that are nice and beefy, which have a separate ball joint, which Matt was saying that would be nice for servicing if in case he needs to replace it. And then just, what is this, rear diff breather? Rear diff breather and some new TRD decals.
Yep, these are the SPC adjustable ones. So there's a couple options to get them, but
oh yeah, so yours are actually camber adjustable.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Basically just to be able to put the bigger wheels and tires with the lift back to like factory camper.
Alright, so that's it.
And the wheels and tires. That's like
a
big thing, which we don't have yet, but we will.
Yep, wheels and tires. We got some nice Method racing wheels coming. Well, actually, we already have it, but then we have some nice Toyo tires coming as well.
Yep.
What size were they? 290?
70, 18s.
Yeah, so just over 34.
Yeah, it's just about a 34.
Which you actually have bigger tires than my truck. My truck's gonna have 33s.
And we'll get
eventually. Eventually. Yeah, honestly, actually, after driving that Dodge Ram that had the same tire size as what you're getting, that's a really good tire size. So even if I were to keep my stock BBSs that are on the truck, I would probably just upgrade to that size.
Do like a slightly bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, how was the ride? Was it like?
It drove fine. Well, it's a heavy duty truck, so it drove a little rough, but.
Well, that's why we could compare
tire size wise, it was a good like look.
That's why I wanted to get the 70s instead of the 65s because you get a little bit more height and the tires will take more of that rough ride away.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start tearing things apart. We're going to take the wheels off, and probably when Matt starts tearing apart the front, maybe I'll start assembling. Well, actually, I can't really assemble the front shocks until you get the top hats off. Yeah. So I guess we're both going to be unassembling. All right, so we're going to start with the front, since that I wouldn't say it's the most complicated because the rear shackles might be a little complicated too. But we're going to start with the front. What we're going to have to do, I've done enough GX 460s and stuff over at work that we're going to have to just do the ball joint right here. Then we're going to do sway bar end link lower bolt, strut lower bolt, and then that should make the strut easy enough to come out. But since that we're replacing this at the same time, at that point is that we'll bring the truck down to take the big long bolt out, and then that will actually just remove this. So all we'll have to do is just literally pull it right out. So that's gonna be the plan. Might be easier said than done, but we're gonna find out. Everything's a little rusty, so we're gonna see how it comes out.
This is a 07 truck that's been in New England for
its entire life.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yep. So we'll start time lapsing.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence. In the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes.
Alright, so we have pretty much everything disconnected, or at least loose, besides just this large bolt for the upper control arm that goes all the way across to the other side. So we got all four of the top hat nuts off. This side, which is the passenger side, wasn't an issue. With the driver's side, this back one back there was really, really rotted, barely even a nut, but we were able to heat it up and get it off, thankfully. Then besides that, sway bar end link is off, and the lower shock mounting spot is off. So I have this nut loose, but the ball joint broken free, just holding the knuckle. And now we're just that one long upper control arm bolt away for getting basically all the front suspension out. Alright, so we just got both sides of the upper control arm bolts loose. Thankfully, actually nothing fought us. So now control arm is loose. We just have to bring the truck down and look in the engine bay to see how we're going to fish this massive long bolt out. We should be able to just pull it right out through the engine bay, and then we'll finally get to disassemble everything in the front. Okay, so we got the other side out. This one you can see, that bolt down in there is the one that we have to take out. So it's just this secondary air injection hose, and there's just a little tiny harness that Matt will just have to move out of the way. And then what I'm gonna do is keep this washer pushed up against this so he's able to pull the bolt out the rest of the way. And then once he gets it out enough that the control arm drops, then we'll take out the control arm with the bolt at the same time.
We got power steering line, we got trans-cooler lines.
Okay, there you go. So now...
I can almost take this one out if I want.
You want to? Oh yeah, you got it. There we go. Now this comes out. And then Matt gets this long bolt out through the engine bay.
Like that. Look at this boy. Oh, the biggest bolt I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is literally the biggest bolt I've ever seen. And there we go. So now we'll just work the rest of the way, just get these struts out. And then we're almost halfway there with the front. Alright, so we just got the other strut out. It's literally just as simple. Yep, old rusty one. It's literally just as simple as we're just going to cut the zip tie that's holding the knuckle. We're going to swing the knuckle out of the way. And then it's going to be pretty much just pushed down on the brake rotor to pull the strut out of the top here. And then it should just pull right out, just like the other side.
Yeah, and this is where your knowledge comes into play, because every single video I watched tells me to take this lower arm and disconnect it from the knuckle. We're not doing that, and we can take it right out.
Yep.
So we'll show you that. All right, ready? That, I'll try it out and I'll lower the...
Yep. So now you should be able to just pull it.
Push down on that. There we go. Just like that.
And now it's out. Don't have to mess with the lower control arm at all. So the Bilstein kit that Matt bought comes with the shock, the lower collar, and the spring. What it doesn't come with is the upper top hat. And
I didn't option for it.
Oh, okay. So it can come. It can come optioned with it.
You know, basically like bolt and color.
Okay. So yeah. So he didn't get the kit that comes with the top hat or the upper insulator, and we were just going to disassemble it and just reuse these. But with how rusty these look, like we could just clean them up and stuff, but the insulator itself is pretty like swollen because it shouldn't really be sticking out of the edges right there. So just to get the new, everything else is going to be updated and new, so he's going to order those tomorrow morning. And then we're kind of at the point of reassembly, but he's going to do some rust cleanup on it anyway. And then we still have the whole rear that we got to do. So we definitely have plenty of work that we still need to do that we can wait a couple days to just get the new stuff. But for the front, we have it completely torn down. And now it's just some front cleanup. And probably tomorrow we'll start moving on to the back. Alright, so we're back for day 2. Matt got here before I did, and he cleaned them up just a little bit more, and then also did a Raptor liner chassis coating just to clean them up before we put the front coilovers in. We ordered new top hats for it, so we have to wait for those. But now we're going to start focusing on the back. So now we have to hopefully these go as smooth as the front did. But we gotta take the shackle off, which everything's looking a little rusty. Hopefully it doesn't fight us. Same with this side. So we're gonna try and tackle the shackles. And then if anything, we'll do the diff breather that he has as well. We'll see how much of a pain in the butt these shackles are gonna be. Alright. So we got the nuts off for these. We actually got this side of the shackle off as well. The same for that side over there. The problem is that this stud is stuck in this bushing, but Matt has new bushings that he wants to put in anyway. So we're gonna chop right here. Oh, you can't see it. We're gonna chop right here so then the shackle is separate, because up here, the upper one actually wants to slide out. Same with this side. So if we could just chop it right here, then we can get the shackle out, the leaf spring will drop, and then we can work on getting that bushing out. So we're going to start with this side, get this side all set, and then we're going to move to the other side. Alright, so before we check in on Matt over there, working on the rear leaf spring shackles, I got this coilover all assembled. Matt got the top hats and stuff all in, so I just put this together. Now I'm gonna go put the other one together, and I'm gonna time lapse it for you guys.
Always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky.
Alright, and just like that, now I have both of the front coilovers all done. So now, since I'm short, I'm not going to be able to reach all the way up here, but now the next thing in the front that needs to go in are the coilovers. So now we're all set with those. The front can now start assembling. And for the rear, Matt was able to get this sleeve back here hammered out. He said he was here for like, what, an hour and a half doing that? Hour? Just about an hour getting that leaf spring bushing out, and he just pressed in the new urethane ones that he had. So he's also getting the new 1-inch shackle lift installed. He has the lower shock unbolted because that's going to be our next step. And now basically in the rear, besides having to do the same thing on this side, for the passenger side, it's all just reassembly for now.
Well, I gotta take the top.
Yeah, and then in order to get the shock off, it's going to be a little of a pain up there because the nut likes to seize and then it just spins the shock. So we're just going to get the Sawzall, just chop the top of the shock off so it just comes right out. Alright, so Matt and I just got the front coilovers in. The top hat nuts are all tight, but the lower bolt down here we still just have loose for now until we get everything else sorted out with it. So only issue we're having right now in the front is that this axle on the inside here wanted to just pop out a little bit, so we can't. As you can see, the wheel is turned when on this side it's straight. So the only issue is that we just have to wait until the rear is done so we can get the truck down low enough to put a jack underneath the control arm so we can just lift it up just so the axle center angle isn't too extreme. If it's pretty much level, we should be able to just put it back right into the inside of the axle right there. So right now we're just stuck on the front. Matt's going to continue to cut the rear shock out, which he has the shock body out, but now he just needs to cut the rest of that out, which is always a pain. I hate doing them at work.
I'm gonna try to get this in there. I might be able to get it.
Alright, so now it's 2 days later. Yesterday we weren't up here, but Matt and I just got the lower control arm in on the passenger side. Driver's side is in. We just got to connect the knuckle. And then Matt, the other night, after I left, he went and cut and air hammered the other bushing out that that the bolt was seized through. So now he got the rear shackle on and the rear shock pretty much in. He just needed my help with the top nut, because you got to kind of like squeeze the upper bushing together in order to get the nut to thread. But now rear shocks are in, the shackles are in. We just got to tighten up the lower shocks and just tighten the shackles once it's on the ground. And now the rear is actually ready to put the wheels and tires on, which I just mounted today after work. So now these are them. Matt's very happy about them. They're, what are they? Method, I forget what model they were.
701s?
Yeah, I think so. Method 701s. They're 18 by 9 plus 12 offset, so he doesn't really want them sticking out of the fender like I did with my truck.
Is it plus 12 or is it plus 25?
It's plus 12.
Okay.
Because then the other ones, the 17 by 8s were 0 offset.
Okay.
And then he went with technically a 34 by 11.5, but it's a 295 70 18. The Toyo AT3s. These are the same 33s that I had on my truck. The last video that you guys saw of my truck when we did my 35s were actually the RTs, which then I downsized to the 33. So now these are going to look super nice on the blue, especially with the black bumpers and small black accents all over the place. But now we're ready to actually put 2 of these on, the rear at least, and then we'll work on the front.
Super excited.
Alright, so we just got the rear wheels on. Let me show you this side too. They like just poke out just a little bit, just like the tire sidewall. So that's gonna be pretty cool that you get to see all this behind it. So we were able to get the front down, so we were able to compress the front suspension with the jack stand, and then we were able to get the axle to pop back into the inner cup, because that was the issue that we were having. So now we just tightened this ball joint, we tightened the top piece, the camber adjustable piece. Now Matt is just loosely, just barely tightening the upper bolt, and we're gonna drop it down on 2 jack stands this time to get the sway bar end link in, which you can't really see on camera. But end link is just what's left. Once that's in and tight, then we will put the front wheels on and then lower this thing down for the first time to actually see what it looks like. And then Matt will go around and tighten all of the bolts.
Can you see the diff drop kit from there?
Oh yeah, and then before I got here today, when I was still doing the tires, Matt installed his diff drop kit. So it's like, probably looks about 1.5 inches.
I think it's 1 inch.
So he did that, and then in the back, he did his rear diff breather extension, which is just this coming off of the axle and it just comes up to the frame. So besides that, we're just gonna keep on going on the front. Front wheels will be on soon. We'll catch up with you when this thing's actually on the ground. All right, we now have it on the ground with all 4 wheels. Matt's in the front tightening up all the suspension right now. I was just saying to him how I absolutely love how you can see the external reservoir shocks from the back. I think it looks sweet. So let's just see this side. Matt's up here right now tightening. We got both the front wheels on. This side, he's just tightening the upper control arm bolt that goes through like the strut tower, the big long bolt. And then that side is all set, so then he'll have to move to the passenger side front after, which I'll show you right now with the wheel on. And this is actually, even though the lift is up, this is actually lift off, so this is with the truck on the ground. Obviously we'll pull it outside and you'll get a better look at it, but this thing is pretty tall now. Alright, so we're all set. That the night that you guys just saw when we were finishing up the lift, it got too dark so we couldn't get a video of the outside of it. So today is actually, Matt just looked, it's actually a month after we just finished the lift. So literally the last video you guys just saw was actually exactly a month away, or a month ago. And Matt said he's put almost 1,000 miles on the lift and wheels, tires. Obviously you can see it's definitely taller. The back is like crazy tall. Like it goes up to my shoulder, like how tall this actually is. But obviously you can see the shocks, wheels, tires looking good. The front, we actually put it on the alignment rack at work after we finished the lift, and camber and caster were actually like perfect. We didn't need to touch it, we just had to tow it, which was great. So much faster, so easy.
And that was all from upper control arms.
Yeah, thankfully that upper control arm, all we did, at first we had it, it was set in the center. Yeah. We had the ball joint set in the center for like camber, and you were able to like visually tell the wheel was like crazy cambered in. So Matt came here, I think the day after. And he just full positive camber it and then just sent me a picture of it, and I was like, that looks a whole lot better, just leave it at that. And then when we put it on the rack, it was actually perfect. Yeah. Exactly how it was. But Matt, how do you feel about the wheels, tires, suspension? How's it ride?
It rides really good. It rides basically, I'm gonna say, like stock.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I get why everyone likes these Bilstein shocks. They ride so close to stock, I don't even notice any difference. So the wheels and tires are awesome. The tires are a tiny bit noisy, but
yeah,
that's to be expected on how aggressive that all-terrain is.
Yeah, and then also the Michelin tires that you had before were just like all seasons. Right. I wouldn't even consider them any type of like actual truck tire.
Right. So I literally don't care. Like, it's such a slight noise. You know, as long as these tires are good in the snow off-road, I could care less about the noise. Yeah. So, but yeah, loving everything so far. And I think it just rubs like a little bit, not on this side. So we took off these little trim pieces in the front. Actually, yeah, it's on this side.
Yeah, so that first night that we actually took it for a ride, it was rubbing a little bit in the front when turning.
It still rubs a little bit right here.
Yeah. And
but other than that, it's really not bad.
Yeah, that first night, this side it didn't rub, which was weird. It didn't make any noise. And then this side, for some reason, it was making a noise. And at first we couldn't figure out what was hitting. But then there's this little tiny, like, front air splitter piece that, like, I would call it a mud flap, but it's in the front. That comes down to about here. That was touching just like this edge of the tire when it came around. So literally, Matt just unbolted it, took it for another drive, no more noise. It was perfect. Didn't have to like trim anything, didn't have to cut anything in the back or take the mud flap off. Back when I did my 35s on my old truck, I had to take the mud flap completely off. I had to take this front piece completely out and cut like this whole lower section of the bumper out so the wheels would clear. But
yeah, this is like the max size you can do without doing like major trimming or cutting. Yeah. Which is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and this tire size visually, it looks like a 35.
And another thing let's look at is the poke. Because I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I was so concerned about the poke.
Yeah, so Matt didn't want the wheels completely like sticking out. Like my truck with the 0 offset, they stuck out maybe like 1 inch. These maybe stick out about 1 inch. Mine was maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches. I guess once you count the tire bulge. The rim itself for my truck was about 1 inch, but then when you think of the tire poke, it comes out.
It actually
more.
looks like there's more poke on video than there is in person. It's
Yeah.
really not.
Oh,
It's
so
like
like
a tiny bit of poke.
Yeah, so it would be
there you
like
go.
that for you guys.
Yeah, it's just a slight bit of poke. And I'm pretty sure if I got the 285 tires, it would have been perfect because that's what I initially wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Perfectly flush.
Because then you can see the front is pretty much like perfect. It's like just like the sidewall itself, the part that's like coming out right here. Because it was like the tread itself
The
is
tread's
like
inside the
yeah,
well
the tread
right
is
now.
in the well. Yeah, it's perfect. Good fitment.
Yeah, so
It's the
because of
matte fitment.
the Toyos, it's a 295, which I'm happy with. Like
Yeah.
the Toyo tires and are worth the little tiny poke. The only true test is to take it on the trail
Yep.
and see what it does there.
And that will have to be probably in about 2 months once I get my truck. Matt's laughing over there because I don't have my truck yet. Worst case scenario, probably like 1.5 to almost probably 2 months still. But hopefully there's no issues at the plant or, you know, back order on parts or anything like that so they can actually build my truck. But within, I think technically within this coming week or the week after, they're supposed to be actually building my truck. So once I get that, we'll have to actually take them off road, maybe up in Vermont somewhere. I'll try and scout out some good roads or something up there, and actually do some off-roading. So Matt can actually be able to use his truck for the lift and everything that we did, and then I will be able to use my truck for its factory. Yeah, we'll do.
Pro can do.
Yeah, we'll do factory TRD Pro versus his lifted and bigger tires Tundra.
Do it.
I guess my plus side will be the locker.
Which will definitely help you.
Yeah, I'd say our suspension, well, shocks are about even. My Fox shocks compared to your Bilsteins. Your tire size is bigger.
And the treads are probably more aggressive than what?
Yeah, your
Tire that comes
well, mine are going to be the Falcon Wild Peak all-terrains.
Oh, it comes with that factory?
But visually, from well, pictures that I see, the tread doesn't look as deep as this.
Yeah, these look aggressive for all terrains.
Yeah. So we'll have to see tire-wise. We'll have to maybe try and find some mud or something. We'll see which tire works better in the mud.
And bomb your brand new TRD Pro in a mud pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Matt's truck is finally done. Maybe once I get my truck, I'm obviously going to do videos of my truck, but we'll video us off-roading. Try and do like a comparison video maybe. Do something like that. Yeah, so like Matt was just saying, a good idea would be once I get my truck, we'll have both of them side by side. We'll compare. Obviously, my truck's going to be pretty different compared to Matt's. But for suspension, wheels, tires, I guess we can compare all that stuff. We won't do like a typical review video of my truck and his truck. We're not going to do like one of those, like, I don't know.
One of the reviews.
Yeah, one of the reviewer videos. We'll just do a simple, his tires are bigger than mine type of video. But for now, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, give me a subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll see you later. See ya.
Now I see you're blue, there is so much cold in you, and the silence is so